about damn time this movie came out. And I mean it. Like, after several years in development hell and several knockoff films made in the meantime, while this is definitely past the peak of the game's popularity, the FNAF movie is finally out. And if I had to sum up this movie in any way, what you probably like about the games is what you might like about the movie, but what problems and flaws you have with the games that people hate are in here as well. So if you aren't into FNAF, whether you know nothing about them or even heard of them but never played the games and get a general idea of what they are, it's still a mess. Though I respect the movie for a few things. One, I think is this technically the first video game movie based on an indie game, at least made by a major studio. That is impressive. I'll give it that. But this movie could have been great. And while I don't think it's one of the worst movies of the year, the more it went on, the more I was frustrated. I never played the games, but I was definitely in the era of, oh my god, MatPat posted a new video out about the lore of this game. I casually watch them once in a while, but I never cared. Because you know what his first video was about? Oh man, what's the lore of FNAF? He literally explained, oh, okay, so there was this real incident in the 80s where someone killed a bunch of workers at Chuck E. Cheese. And they were like, oh, that's what this game is based on. But now that got popular, so it's like, here's this long lore about all these games. And it's like, no, these are all made up. It's bullshit. There is no actual story to the FNAF games. It's all made up as they go along. And really, it's only intriguing if you go, I guess. Now, with that being said, the movie needs a story to work as its own thing. And it just doesn't. It could, but it doesn't. With that being said, so what's the movie about? Well, based on the video game series by Scott Cawthon, produced by Jason Blum, and directed by Emma Tammi, I watched this movie on Peacock late at night, and while it didn't put me to sleep, I'm glad I watched this at home since I probably wouldn't have been happy saying somebody to see this on the big screen. The story is that Mike, played by Josh Hutcherson, is a struggling mess traumatized by a terrible incident done to his family when he was a kid, and now, as an adult, he solely raises his kid sister, Abby, played by Piper Rubio. He struggles to maintain a job, but after going to Matthew Lillard about finding a new job, and since he has no other options, Sister Aunt Jane, played by Mary Stuart Masterson, will take custody of her, he takes the night shift as a security guard at a closed-down Chuck E. Cheese knockoff, or if you're in your 40s, losers, Showbiz Pizza. I'm gonna be 20 soon, so who am I to say? Anyways, known as Freddy's Pizzeria, which things aren't what they seem, and over the course of 5 nights, Mike must figure out the mystery between his past and make sure his sister is safe from his own stupidity that he puts her in at this place. Because, oh no, I think there's something going on. Oh hey, that's the poster. The poster seems to have the animatronics be haunted. The animatronics might be haunted! Okay, so the games are about security guards spending 5 nights trying not to get killed by the animatronics possessed by the ghosts of murdered children. And I can see why they had problems adapting it over the years, like, since even with the games there are several contrivances that make no sense if you think about it. Most notably, if you survived 1 night with these things, why would you come back for 4 more nights? Well, the movie certainly tried. I feel like they had 2 different stories where in story 1, Mike is a struggling everyman who just wants to take care of his sister and having no choice must work at Freddy's. And the second one, Mike tried to unlock in his dreams who kidnapped his brother, and since being at Freddy helps him remember more of the truth, so that's why he keeps coming back. But together, it doesn't really work, so Mike is so unlikable. Like, the job he has before going here, he rightfully gets fired for. Hell, I think he should have been arrested. And while it's real why he would do this, even that's kind of a weak excuse. And I will say this. He should seek mental health for these he should seek professional help for his problems. And I'm not saying it like, oh, you're such a nutcase. It's like, there is nothing wrong with it. But it's like, is it the direction that what he's doing is wrong? Because the movie almost makes it seem like what he's doing is the right thing to do. Or at least, I'm supposed to be rooting for him making these mistakes still. And it's like, yeah, you can have a character be flawed, but he should still be likable. And God, is this guy not likable? Because... okay, so Mike and his sister don't get along, and it never comes off if he actually cares for her, except the plot says he cares for her. And honestly, it could be that his character isn't given a clear direction when he's this traumatized asshole when he cares for himself, and when it works as like he has this doesn't give a shit attitude, sure, but like when he needs to be emotional, it doesn't do a good job. There's stuff where he screams once in a while, I'm like, yeah, you're trying, but it's just not much. Even then, it's like... okay, so, I get it. It's its arc that it's supposed to be, he needs to move on. I wish I cared, but I did. Like, I should care easily, but I don't. I want to care about this relationship he has with his sister, but I don't. Josh Hutcherson gives a I don't give a shit performance the whole time, so when it's emotional, it doesn't work. Even if he was solely detached from reality, sure, maybe, it doesn't. Look. Okay, so then the other major problem with this movie. It's not scary. At first when he sets foot in this place and the atmosphere and sound is there, it's like, yeah, this gives me creeps at first. Like, this place, it is actually creepy. Like, pretty much what I imagined the game in live action would be like. But then, you see the animatronics, which sure are faithful to the game, but they are not scary, Lukey. Like, they are kind of weird, but there's a reason their plushies are sold in stores, okay? The animatronics are impressive, but they just look ridiculous the whole time. So when it's meant to be scary, it's not. It looks ridiculous, especially the cupcake. I think the animatronics should have looked decaying over time or something. Like, okay, these were from the 80s, yet they still look brand new. So, like, have them be like, okay, these things are rotting, they're rusted or something. They're coming apart. It's like, I think that would have added a lot. By the way, though, I said that especially the cupcake. So, there are 5 ghost children, and yet there's only 4 of the big animatronics, so I assume one of them possesses the cupcake. Which, I gotta ask, which one of the 5 children pulled a small straw and was like, okay, so you 4 get the bodies, I get the effing cupcake. They made a mistake by making this PG-13 since without blood, it never makes them feel like a threat. When Abby was next to these things, I did almost feel a little scared, because I'm like, oh shit, these things are towering over her. They could just crush her. I'm worried they could hurt her, like they could snap her like a twig, but by an hour in, what they do to these things was so stupid, I laughed my ass off. It's like, I laughed my ass off because I'm like, I'm sorry, what the hell is this movie doing? So other than forced cameos in this movie, which by the way, if you don't know who these people are, you're like, they last long enough for you to go, okay, yeah, you're definitely a cameo. This movie plays the story straight. And it is trying. It is really trying. I don't feel like this is just a cash grab. It really does feel like they wanted to make this work. The mystery is so obvious, both knowing who would the bad guy be, because, oh god, you got this name in the movie. Are you going to waste him by not making him this guy? But if you can't figure out the connection between these murdered children and Mike's kidnapped brother from the first, by just me saying, okay, so there were murdered children and your brother was kidnapped. What's the connection? You're just not paying attention. Or you just don't care, which I don't blame you. Why would you? Mike puts Abby knowingly in danger, and it keeps going back and forth if I'm supposed to like him or not. And then there's Vanessa. So Vanessa is a cop who knows the truth about this place, and when Mike asks her several questions, she never answers. And she's like, I warned you, and it's like, no you didn't. You kept it vague, and if you just said these things would kill people, then he would run. Or, you know, he should do some research, like, yeah, this takes place in the 2000s, which I will say. There was a part where he was in a station, and there's, like, you know, you have the video camera that says April 6, 2000. I'm like, April 6th was when it's my birthday! Yay, I guess! At this time in 2004, my birthday could have happened on FNAF movie timeline, whatever. Where was I? Oh, yeah. But even this being in the 2000s, even though this is before you can just Google everything, like, you can still do research. Like, go to a library and just go find a newspaper article, because if you could do research about, oh, you were told there were 5 children killed in this place, do something about it. Don't just go, huh. He never tries to dig in for answers, or seems to care that much that these haunted animatronics pose a threat. Like, okay, yeah, sure, you are detached, but, like, that's not normal. And also, going back to it being scary, they could have built up the mystery, but it's made clear that they can't kill people, so if they made it unclear for a while longer that what they were actually playing, maybe I would have been in suspense, but I'm not, and I just don't care. The movie is impressive on a technical level, like with the animatronics and the production design, and some of the other actors are trying, they are trying, but this movie makes so many mistakes that the more it went on, the more I got frustrated with it, especially with the lack of explanation for some characters' motivation, and the conflicting explanation of how these things work, or when you stop to think about how little this makes sense at all. But if I felt scared in the moment, or I cared about these characters, I would be into this movie, but I don't. I enjoy the risks this movie takes, even if it plays it safe for the most part. I enjoy the sound and music at times, and I did mind. Okay, honestly, I should go back to music. I really like the score for this movie. The New Brothers do a good job. It might be one of my favorite themes for a movie this year. And I didn't mind the movie's pacing or ideas. I can see why people would either love this movie, they finally got the FNAF movie they've wanted for years, or despise it saying, I think it should have been this, but it's not. It is a faithful enough adaptation, and if you find the main lead's performance captivating, you would care and go along with the plot. But if you don't, this movie falls down like dominoes. If it's not boring, nor is it one. It's not boring. It's not boring, nor is it one of the worst movies of the year. And as a video game movie goes, it's a miss on the bullseye, but it gets some points for being on the board, if that makes any sense. I'm glad some people get the movie they always wanted, but 20 minutes should have been cut, the writing could have been better, and it should have been rated R. I don't even know what they're going to do for the sequel. They are going to make a sequel. This will make money. I mean, I would be shocked if it's like, this movie does not get enough traction for you're like, okay, now that we got the movie out, what should we do for the sequel? Well, I'm actually coming to a blank what they could do with a sequel. Anyways, I thought this movie was bad. I give the FNAF movie, no, okay, I give Five Nights at Freddy's a 4.5 out of 10.